Hello and welcome to Nice and Blunt. I'm Adam Riancho, your host. We are back on YouTube. We were not live yesterday, but we're here today, Wednesday, July 1st, 7:25 p.m., and we're here to draft some best ball teams. Let us begin. All right. Excited to be back. Sorry for yesterday. A little bit busy, a little tired, a little under the weather. Took the day off. Hope you can forgive me. Excited to be back, though. Unfortunately, Underdog is kind of playing hardball at the moment. Like, they're not really dropping any new contests that you're really excited to hop into. So maybe if you still have some pit bulls left, maybe if you can spend on the Dalmatians, you're not upset. But we've done a lot of eliminators lately. We're going to do some tonight. However, I may move over to drafters. There will be a pivot in this week, probably, depending on the Underdog availability. I have signed up for drafters, a little update, and we will be drafting over there at least a few times the rest of the summer. Might as well mix it up just a little bit. But tonight we'll be hopping into the Eliminator, and I will be claiming my free Eliminator promo. We played 5 of them earlier last week, and I got 1 for free. So I did pin a comment in the chat. That's the reason we were late today. Pepper Tony, what's up, Pepper Tony? Let's shout out the chat real quick before I forget. Pepper Tony was fimpsed, as always. Shamrock's in here. Hartman's in here. Yo, what's up, Scott? How we doing? We did take a day off. Hashtag sometimes take a day off. But yo, what's up, Chris, the Candyman? If anyone hasn't checked out the Fantasy Football Garage, awesome YouTube channel over there. Same with Hartman FF. His YouTube channel is popping. Both of them very sharp drafters, strong takes, fun times on their live streams. But what's up? I'm doing good. How we doing? Keith's in the house. What up? And so is Breaking Best Ball. How we doing? But the comment I have pinned is to remind you to claim your free BBM challenge. It is on the mobile tab on Underdog. You play 4 and you get 1. You have 2 days to complete it, but you have to agree to the promo before you start. So that will be removed from your options in about an hour and a half. By midnight tonight Eastern time, that's 9 p.m. Pacific. It will no longer be available. Maybe you're not going to do 4 BBMs, but at least give yourself the option and claim the promo. That is what is leading to this eliminator being free for you boy. So I'm going to apply that right now. Our next eliminator is on the website. It is free, and I will be joining this eliminator. I'll give y'all a chance to set it up, get into this lobby if you want to, but that is the main event for tonight. We'll be mostly drafting in the eliminator. However, I will set a poll reminder. If we can get to 50 likes, I will do a Best Ball Mania. I will do a BBM if we can get it to 50 likes. But make sure you claim the promo, as I mentioned, on your mobile tab before it is gone. So without further ado, let's hop into this eliminator, giving you a countdown, hopping in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's go. 7 spots. Maybe it takes a minute to fill, but we have some time. No worries there. If you all want to join me, there are 6 spots available in this eliminator. Real Fantasy Football Talk says, yo, this nap, I want you to come on my live stream tomorrow. Tomorrow, I don't know if I can do it tomorrow, but here, how about this? I believe, Nap God, you recently followed me on Twitter in the last 24 hours. I believe I saw that notification. Send me a DM, and we'll plan it for this next coming week. How about that? 24 hours notice. I'm not sure I can make it happen, but I'm down. Let's do that. So if you want to send me a DM on Twitter, Real Fantasy Football Talk, let's set it up. I will make it happen in the next calendar week, but don't think I can do it tomorrow. A little bit too short notice. But what's up, Soothing Sound? What's good in the hood? We're chilling. We're feeling all right. if anything, maybe we should chill even more. Let's drop in the music, shall we? Let's bring in the background music. Let's go. But Shamrock, I'm missing the Lil Dalmatians. I know the $1 contest can fill so quickly. If I had to guess, they want Best Ball Mania to be a little bit more filled than it currently is. If that is what is their motivation for this BBM challenge, I would assume that tracks. I think that is the main prerogative from a business standpoint. Because if we could just have Lil Dalmatians open every day, they would fill pretty much instantly. But that prevents you from hopping into something else, and I think maybe that is part of the idea. I have no idea. I do not work for Underdog. I merely am a partner. And one quick reminder, I can get you $50 free in bonus entries when you use promo code BLUNT. The link is in the description. Sign up code BLUNT not only gets you a deposit matched, 50% of your first deposit up to $1,000. Also, once you enter the website, you play your first $5, you get 50 free on me. So check the link in the description if you're interested. Promo code BLUNT on sign up. Don't forget promo code BLUNT. That'd be unfortunate if I got you to sign up and you forgot to use the promo code. That'd be a bummer. So just hit the link down below. But Pepper Tony says, maybe I will join you and eliminate you. He does not join us. He is not in this lobby. We got J-Rock, took Gibbs, Blessed, RVM, took Bijan, Griff, 12, just took Jamar Chase. Cool People is on the clock. He goes Puka. And now Sneaky D at 5. Sporky, 333. Sporky is an interesting name. King Lives 33 is now on the clock at pick 7. Then we got Hurting Feelings at pick 8. Roman's Empire at pick 9. Sex Panther 1 at pick 10. Reminds me of Anchorman. 60% of the time, it works every time. Super Beast at 11. What's up, Keith? How we doing? And then I am pulling up the caboose at pick 12. I am at the turn. I'm a couple picks away. Taylor falls to pick 9. He's got a late bye. That's kind of interesting. But coming up, if Jefferson didn't have such an early bye, I'd probably be taking him because I like his early season schedule. But with him off of the board, I will go Saquon. I think Saquon has a phenomenal schedule. I like him a lot in this. And then to also get the late bye, I'm going to double tap running back. I know that position gets fucking pricey. So let's get it while the upgrade in price is least noticeable. Let's do it at the top of the draft. Let's go Saquon and Derrick Henry. And I lock up the later bye with Henry than Hampton. And I get a really good early season schedule with Saquon. Touches I just know are locked in. I'm worried about Saquon breaking down. That's what I'm more worried about. Saquon getting hurt week 10 and just never coming back on the field. That's not really relevant in the Eliminator. I need him active week 1, getting the bulk of touches, and I need good matchups. Love his week 1 matchup against the Commanders. Week 2, he's against the Titans. And then week 3, he's against the Chicago Bears. They had a good defense last year in the secondary. They had a lot of interceptions, a lot of turnovers. But against the run, the Bears weren't that bad. The early season schedule for Saquon, first 3 games, are pretty lit. So we will do that. Yo, what's up, Goofy Chicken? Welcome into the chat. Goofy was live earlier today. If you haven't done so already, friend of the channel, Goofy Chicken Fantasy, awesome live streamer. Give him your subscription over there if you're interested in having a good time and drafting some fun teams. We've been live with him, not just on his channel, but on this channel. He was here for the 10-hour live stream, and Goofy is a good friend of the channel. What's up? Thanks for popping in, Goofy. Appreciate you. But Best Ball Cabal is in the house. Did the Eliminator fill last year? I assume the pace will pick up a bit in August when more info is available. Yes, when we hit August, not only will the pace pick up, there's going to be a lot more slows that people enter, And I imagine once we hit training camp, the eliminator will fill like it did last year, mostly at the end. I remember looking at the eliminator this time last year and thinking, like, you know what? There's a chance this thing doesn't fill. There's a chance it's really worth your money to get in the first 30% of this contest, because there's a chance it only ends up at like 70, 60%. And that did not happen last year. They did fill it, so it will fill. It's just going to take a while to crack 50%. And then I think once we hit August, it's just going to fill very fast. And then those final 10% will go extra quickly, because a lot of slows will be entered. But Real Fantasy Football Talk, it won't let me. It says I have to pay to... You know what? Send me an email. Send me an email. Do it the old-fashioned way. Email me niceandblunt@gmail.com. I am not pay to access. I promise you there is no paywall. I have also had this problem on Twitter. I recently got Twitter a couple months ago to start posting when I go live and trying to reach out to other people. And there are some people it does not let me talk to, because I don't pay for it either. So apologies for the paywall. You can, sorry about that. But yo, what's up, Brukowski? You can email me, napgod, niceandblunt@gmail.com. But don't trust Pepper Tony. Pepper Tony might have the shield, but he is not my agent. He is not my manager. He does not speak for me. He's my bouncer. Pepper Tony's my bouncer. He's not my agent. The influencer 201. Yeah, exactly, right? Rashi Rice fell? I mean, I guess he has a bye that late, but like, sure, why not? I don't see why not. I will take Rashi here at pick 36. I think, though, I'm going to stay strong at RB. I do like Dave Montgomery's early season schedule, but I'm going to trust that Cam Scatterbo is healthier sooner than later, and I just think he's an excellent pick. So this contest makes running backs more expensive. I'll go Scatterbo RB3, truly elite upside. I'd rather pay. It's a couple people I need to talk to. Yeah, there's also that. Hashtag bring back Goofy. You know what? We can make that happen. I have a feeling we can probably make that happen. I don't want to speak for Goofy, but I would imagine, whether it's soon, next week, or the week after, I would imagine we can hopefully make that happen. But First Damn Fantasy saying Eliminator last year went from like 60% to like 88% in about 10 hours. Yeah, that tracks. That definitely tracks. I'm more like Big Dom from the Eagles. I do a little of everything. You also find your way to make it on camera. Maybe you haven't. Here's the thing, Pepper Tony. When are you going to come on the channel? When are you going to step on the channel? You've stepped on Huhaim's channel. I would be happy to have you. You asked to come on in Huhaim's chat when we were talking about the 10-hour, but you did not reach out. No pressure or anything, bud, but would be happy to have you on the channel. When I message you on Discord, okay, that's fair. I've dragged my feet long enough on Discord, haven't I? Okay, that's a fair request, Pepper Tony. I do not exist on Discord. I am basically a ghost over there. But hello, Batwheat. The image in my mind that I think of when I see a hello with an exclamation point is that episode of Seinfeld where he's got like a face on his belly. Hello. Anyways, we're in the Eliminator. And we start off with triple running back and Rashi Rice. Rashi fell 5 picks, has a week 5 bye. But if there's any position you're not going to fall behind with in this lobby, it's probably receiver usually. So I'm willing to accept that whoever's available at the 5-6 turn is worth the price. And by comparison, yeah, we don't even have access to Tony Pollard at pick 60. I'll take Rashi there. No issue with that. But come on, Mr. Pepperoni. Put your money where your mouth is. Zero RB in the eliminator. I would agree. That is wild as fuck. That is bold. Team 3 is doing whatever the fuck he wants. That's kind of unique. But I have Saquon, I have Derrick Henry, I have Cam Scatterbo. And I should get a decent double tap at receiver here. Christian Watson goes. I actually like Christian Watson a lot in this. Not going to lie. I think he's a pretty solid pick. If JMO's going to fall to pick 60, I'll just take JMO. There's some volatility with JMO, but I also don't want to fear having just like a few more upside swings. And so at the turn here, similar to Rashi Rice, despite an early bye week, I'll mix him in. It's a different bye than Rashi. That's what's critical to me. But so far, I'll be without one of these guys in both weeks 5 and 6. And then here, I'll take another receiver. I'm going to take Rome just because the bye is later. Just because the bye is later. He does have the same bye as Saquon, but if I make it to week 10, that's already a decent payout. And who knows? I might be facing a weak roster in the first place. Some of my later round picks also going to carry me. I am planning to grab a few extra receivers along the way. But Shamrock, which players are at most risk for their value? Which players are at the most risk for their value? It would probably correlate to players that are going much earlier in the lobby. You know, like the ADP gets less risky as you move down the board. So in this one, we see Javonte at pick 18. That's kind of risky, kind of injury-prone player. But that's hard to say. Some injuries factor in. I think just bad offenses are typically the teams to avoid. I would say the floor is kind of non-existent on a Jeremiah Love, Breece Hall because of touchdown production. So I would say one of the most risky picks I think we can do is Jeremiah Love in the top 2 rounds. I'd be very hard-pressed to believe he scores 10-plus touchdowns this year. And to be drafting a running back that high without getting double-digit touchdowns is kind of a major disappointment. And also, especially in the eliminator, this is like contest specific, but you need to show up early. Do I trust rookie running backs to be their most effective week 1? Not at all. So I would say Jeremiah Love feels like a very risky pick. Sneaky D55 took Jeremiah Love over Chase Brown and favored the week 14 bye week instead of Chase Brown's week 6 bye. I don't think Jeremiah Love helps you make it to week 6 at all. I'd be pretty worried about that. So that's probably my number 1 candidate. Obviously, Malik Neighbors and his injury risk, very risky. And then just the ambiguous situations. Jacobs, that's kind of weird, could get suspended. Bucky Irving also, will he be back late summer, early fall? What's the deal? Todd Bowles was kind of non-committal on his status. So there's a few of them, but typically early rounds, it's not that crazy. I think until you get to Jadarian Price, Chuba Hubbard, most picks make sense. Most picks make sense. Shit, where am I in the chat? Okay, Who Hames, what's up? Another family soup. What's up? How we doing? I mentioned drafters earlier today. I signed up with Hookhame's code, and I got my first $100 matched on drafters over there. So I wanted some site credit. I wanted some free money, and I caved. I did sign up for drafters. Thank you, Who, for the promo deal. Shout out Hookhame's. Maybe if I get one, I'll let you guys know. But for now, if you want to sign up with drafters, promo code Who, capital H, double O. The O's are little, so capital H, two little O's. Promo code Who is what I used earlier today. Okay, yeah, we are in the Eliminator. Who aims? Yeah, but what's up? I think I have like 30% Christian Watson in the Eliminators. He's a great pick. Great pick. Week 11 bye is very nice, and then he has some injury prone issues, but if he goes down, it's not going to be week 1. So I expect him to maintain his role. If Matthew Golden comes alive, he's more prone to do that later in the season. It's not going to happen where he overtakes Christian Watson very much in the beginning. So I'm very concerned with just advancing into week 2, let alone making it to week 5. I want players that will deliver early on. I feel pretty good about Quentin Johnston. It's not for the bring back with Rashi, but just the early season schedule. I like Quentin Johnston a lot. I do not care about the volatility. I want the upside. I want true upside. Here, though, I'm tempted to just grab a quarterback. But I'm also willing to push it. I'm just going to take Rico Dowdle, a player I like at this price. He also fell 7 spots. And running backs in general are more expensive in this contest. So to get one where I like taking him in the other contests that are much more regularly priced, I will just take Rico here. I think he's a worthwhile pick. And hopefully I don't regret it, but my plan is to double tap quarterback at the next turn, which is a very valuable pocket of the draft for the quarterback position. So Rico Dowdle, pick 85. ADP 78 feels excellent. And we are just keeping it afloat. All my running backs have different buys. All my receivers have different buys. My receivers a little bit earlier in the season, but I've built this team to be more reliant on running back in the flex in the first place. So that's going to help me out as long as I have 3 of my top 4 active every week. And injuries aren't a problem. I'm not afraid having one player on bye in weeks 5, 6, 7, and 10. That's just kind of how it goes. If you're going to draft 18 players and try and spread out bye weeks, that's just inevitable. So far, I only have one duplicate bye. It's Saquon and Rome in week 10. Otherwise, every single pick has had a different bye week. So far, that's just the name of the game. Every week, I have one player missing, and I'm fine with that. But Bat Week, am I going to be doing any daily fantasy DK weekly tournaments for subscribers this upcoming season? Maybe do a $5 or $10 buy-in each Sunday, winner take all kind of thing. That would be interesting. I've never done such a thing, and typically on Sundays, I'm pretty tired, and because I'm on the West Coast and the games start at 10 a.m., if I go live on Sunday, it's usually to do start-sit. So that's probably not going to happen. Your request is interesting, though. I don't think it's crazy. I do some daily on Underdog, like the Wildcat, for instance, the Hurry Up, those type of contests, those like 6-person, 12-person drafts. I do those, but this sounds like something you can enter specifically in like a private lobby. That sounds fun. Maybe I'm willing to try that, perhaps. But we got Fancy Monster coming in. QBs matter. Hashtag QBs matter. Hashtag running back is king, but also hashtag QB matter. Shout out Malcolm X. The ghost of Malcolm X is watching here today. But yeah, here, have a scoop. Hashtag family soup. Or the promo on Underdog is blunt. Stafford making it back. I don't think I'm going to take him, though. Kind of a late buy, kind of tempting. But here's the thing. I desperately want to make it past week 1. If I don't exit week 1, I might be very upset. Now, Stafford here, I think, is a great floor play every week. And because I'm getting him at a discount, I don't care as much about the stacks in this contest. I will just take him. I also don't have anyone on a week 11 buy so far. So I will just take him. However, for my second quarterback, this is truly a week 1 play more so than anything else. I like Baker a lot week 1. He gets the Cincinnati Bengals. But Tyler Shuck gets the Detroit Lions. And that's also a defense I want to go up against. So I will go Tyler Shuck here with Matthew Stafford. I think Tyler Shuck at Detroit is a phenomenal play week 1. I think I've locked up a top 6 quarterback type of finish. I should have someone in the top 10 week 1. Stafford plays against the Niners with no Robert Saleh. I don't fear that defense the same. That game's going to be in Australia, though, and weird shit can happen. I want a good backup behind him that week 1 I trust to deliver. So I don't exactly remember who Kyler plays week 1. I do like Kevin O'Connell, and then I also think that the lack of game film is going to help Kyler in the Viking system. Week 1, I'm not sure their opponent's going to know what hit him. So, like Kevin O'Connell typically does, I think he starts off pretty hot. Should win week 1 like he normally does. But what's the true matchup? The Vikings are hosting the Packers. Vikings hosting the Packers. Divisional game could be a little bit tricky. The over-under for that matchup is 44.5. So, I forgot about that, but I know for a fact the Detroit Lions game hosting the Saints is going to be one of the bigger shootouts of the week. The line in that one is 48.5. Detroit is favored by a touchdown. So they're inherently giving the Saints 21 points on the scoreboard. But I think in garbage time, Tyler Shuck is going to deliver. I like Tyler Shuck week 1 quite a bit. But Baker's also a great play. I like both of them a lot. I think if you push quarterback in the eliminator and you end up with Tyler Shuck or Baker Mayfield as your starter, you are saved. Odds are they play pretty well against the Bengals and the Lions. But the QJ stonks absolutely have been rising. Absolutely. Anything going on with Javonte Williams? Not really. He's just kind of injury prone. He's not on a 1-year deal anymore, so maybe not as motivated in the same way as last year. Maybe he just gets hurt again, 1 year older. But he wasn't as productive down the stretch as he was to start the year. Javonte is just fine, maybe not elite. He went super high in this one. He went pick 18 in this lobby. I don't understand that. Other than the week 14 bye, I don't think you can justify it at all. So that's interesting. But Anthony says, what's up, man? How you doing? Are we going to do another eliminator after this? That is the plan. I would say that's the plan. We have 40 watchers at the moment. We have 40 people watching, 24 likes. If we can get up to 30 likes, we'll lock in another one. And the traffic's been slightly slow today. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do at least one Best Ball Mania tonight, probably. I think I want to. I haven't done one in a minute, and I might claim the challenge, might not, but I will ask you guys next draft. Eliminator, BBM, or drafters. First time ever I'm including drafters in the poll. I can't imagine it wins, though. But next draft, at 33 likes. Drafters never wins. I had a feeling if I leave it up to the chat, it's not going to get chosen. Um, that's my guess. But at least for the sake of Kelsey made it back. Kelsey's not bad. However, he has an early bye. That's kind of annoying. I think I'm going to take Diggs as one of these picks for sure. I'll go Stephon Diggs. And then I kind of need a tight end. Kind of just need one. I'm a little bit worried, though, about some of the early season production on Kelsey if Mahomes is not 100%. Like in the Eliminator, I'm a little worried to draft Mahomes, to be honest with you. So I'm going to go tight end, but I'm going to go with Dallas Goedert. I think the main argument against Dallas Goedert is what happens when he gets hurt. But he has a week 10 bye that's definitely a little better than Kelsey week 5. And I think he deserves a bump after A.J. Brown left. The ADP has not adjusted, but in the Eliminator at the bookend pick 12, he's not going to make it back to me. I can justify whatever I want. If I think it fits, I will take it. And I will go Dallas Goedert. I mentioned I like the Eagles' early season schedule, the Commanders, the Titans, and then the Bears. Not bad. So Goddard will be healthy. Goddard is probably going to be much more effective before Mekhi Lemon figures out the NFL. So week 1, do I really want to trust Mekhi Lemon or bet on Dallas Goedert? I'll go Dallas Goedert. But yeah, I did say doo-doo. I did, but the Underdog dailies are great. Yeah, that's probably, if I have a chance to get up to the bronze badge by the end of the calendar year, it's going to be because of those Underdog dailies, for sure. But chocolate. What's good, man? I hope you're having a great day. Thank you, Dynasty. I hope you are as well. Appreciate you. On occasion, Burn Dogler, sometimes I say things that make 0 sense at all. Sometimes I mix up my words. Sometimes I get tongue twisted. Terrence or Colby, tight end stack. I could also do that. I could do that. I did an autopilot draft and got only one tight end. Psh, that's not great. I hope that tight end was Bowers. That's not great. But Brett says BBM. So far, the poll is actually knotted up, and it's pretty close. If you actually want to vote for drafters, it's not that far behind. It's currently 38% tied with Eliminator and Best Ball Mania, and then 23% are saying drafters. Yeah, I did break the drafters. I did not want to break the cherry on stream though. I did not want to do that publicly because I've never done it before. So I was in Huhaim's chat. I also entered the giveaway contest. I did not get the free ticket, but better luck next time. And honestly, I didn't hate the team. We had pick 4 in full PPR. It's much more appropriate to go with a 0 RB strategy. That's kind of the best course of action. From pick 4, I started off Puka, Rashi Rice, and Trey McBride in full PPR season-long contest. Total points, I don't mind that. But I took Rashi Rice here at pick 36 in this contest. Much different strategy. And to wrap my mind around the full PPR is also like, you know, a bit of a mind fuck. Got to make sure you get at least one rep in before you commit. But Chigo Okonkwo makes it. He's a different buy than Dallas Goedert. This is a really good price on Chigo Okonkwo, so I will do that. I'll just take Chig. Here's the thing. Hunter feels like a terrible eliminator pick. But then there's also part of me that kind of believes he might just be the most valuable Jaguars receiver. I'm going to do it. I'm going to mix him in on this team. It feels a little crazy, but they have a bye in week 7. I would be shocked if they did not give him like at least a chance to be spotlit and like show what he can do as like a focal point of the offense. I think there's going to be one game early on where he does really, really get a shit ton of targets. They're going to have to see what they got. And I just keep remembering that Rams game, man. I had Travis Hunter on one of my teams in redraft last year, and it was worth the wait until he sadly got injured at practice after the bye week. It was like, why the fuck is this happening? They went to London, and then their second game, they played the Rams, and then he practiced the following like Wednesday or Thursday on the bye, and he just went down with a non-contact injury. It was just like, okay, he's just not available anymore. But he fucking crushed against the Rams. He fucking killed them. So he was a phenomenal prospect. He didn't go second overall for a reason. Maybe Travis Hunter is actually like that big of a league winner. Maybe he's just a good pick. But I'm starting to get a few too many week 7 buys. We have QJ, we have Travis Hunter, we have Chigo Okonkwo. Both of those picks were week 7. So I'm going to try to avoid that week the rest of the way. But on just sheer talent alone, fuck it. Let's take him here. The chat should be supporting the drafter. I know, right? The drafters chat box is pretty interesting. Definitely another element. Makes it more fun. But smoke it if you got it. You know what? AMC, it's been a minute. Good call. Good call. What's up, Disbanded? What's up, Albie? Good evening to you as well, and good luck. It reminds me of, have you guys ever seen the film? It's in black and white. It's called Good Night and Good Luck. And it follows Edward R. Murrow in a semi-historical biopic documentary type of film. It has a lot of like A-list actors, like as George Clooney in it. Robert Downey Jr.'s in it. It's shot in black and white. You need to be paying attention for this film. But Edward R. Murrow used to be a news broadcaster back in like I forget if it was the 50s. I want to say it was the 60s. I believe it was the 60s, but it may have been the 50s, the McCarthy era of Hollywood, where the government was trying to seek out communists in the media. It's an interesting movie about that. Perhaps worth your time, but good night and good luck is how every single broadcast would be ended after this guy was smoking a cigarette. So I got something in common with Edward R. Murrow. We both smoke on camera. Good night and good luck. But yes, Batwheat, you are correct. Drafters is total points all season long. Week 1 matters just as much as week 17 in the payout structure. But in the eliminator, I suppose I'm more willing to go with Brissett, in all honesty. But I think I'd rather have A.J. Barner. Running back has fallen off dramatically. If I want someone else, I should probably take him now. I'm actually going to pull up Katron. Haven't taken a running back since Rico Dowdle. I'll go Katron. Despite being week 7, it's a different position. That position is still very balanced in terms of bye week exposure. So I'll go Katron there. And I genuinely believe he could have a role week 1 or just win the job by week 4. in terms of his specific role I'm counting on. He will be worth this ADP regardless of format. And despite being a rookie, I just think he's in a good enough situation where he can deliver. And also, I feel good enough about my lineup where now my depth plays at running back are trying to hit the lineup later in the year and fill in when I need them down the stretch. So I can afford to wait out Katron based on a weekly role. I feel confident betting on Katron. I think will be in my lineup a few times. And especially if this team makes it, most of my running back buys are after Katron's in week 7. I would assume his role significantly expands after the bye week. Typically speaking, most rookies get way better during the bye, and they're more incorporated into the offense after they can self-scout with the team, what they do well, what they don't, and set some new goals for the remainder of their rookie year on how to contribute in the offense. So Katron, I definitely believe, will be the goal line back in Washington. And after week 7, if I'm still alive, he'll really help me out because every single bye week I have remaining is after week 7. Scatabo in week 8, Rico Dowdle week 9, Barkley week 10, and Henry in week 13. I would assume Katron's more valuable at that time of the year. But MC Spears, I don't like cheese strains. I'm not too familiar with cheese strains. That's a new concept to me. But the cake, currently I'm smoking on wedding cake at the moment. I got a pretty good price on it, but I'm not familiar with the term cheese strains. But yeah, all season scoring over on Drafters, marathon contest, but has prizes for top 10 scoring teams each week. That's true. There's also the weekly payouts that make it a little bit more interesting, but not my most necessary selling point. More so just mixing it up and also getting $100 in free funds also helps with the content budget. At one point, I'll just do a Drafters only live stream. At one point soon, I'll probably draft 3 teams and exclusively on Drafters. It maybe isn't as great for broadcasting. I would say the color palette on Underdog kind of pops a little bit more, but it's still pretty good. Not bad at all. Smoker's Haven says he enjoys the Drafters user interface. It's not bad. It's not bad. Goddard should get a ton of red zone targets. I would assume so. He was a focal point in the goal to go situation. Some of his depth of target was extremely close to the line of scrimmage the year prior as well. And he's been a go-to target for a while in the red zone. Just kind of a question of will he stay healthy? I do not believe Eli Stowers keeps him off the field. It's also a contract season for Goddard. He was a free agent last year. At the end of the season, he scored 11 touchdowns. He will be a free agent again at the end of the year. I actually think Tank Dell is pretty interesting in this contest. I'm going to go with Tank Dell. And then I do think Justice Hill will contribute. And historically, Derrick Henry has had some slow starts at times. Sometimes week 1 is not the locked-in week for Derrick Henry. So if he's ever going to have a bad game, it's probably because they are trailing and the game script requires them to throw the ball. Derrick Henry doesn't catch many passes. So if there's a game where he just shits the bed, it is also possible that Justice Hill has like 7 catches that week. And like last year, could have a 20-point game when I least expect it, when it matters most. And it's possible it happens in week 1. Sometimes Derrick Henry is kind of kept on the bench, so to speak, just not given the elite volume in week 1 because they want to save him. But that was round 18. This draft is done, and I finished with a 2-6-7-3. Possibly needed another receiver there, but I don't hate my receiver room at all. And I also think this is one of the contests I'm willing to kind of get away with just 7 receivers at times. Now, most teams in this one have 2 quarterbacks, but I don't think it's completely essential to have 3 quarterbacks. I wouldn't have minded a third quarterback. Had Brissett fallen one more pick, I would have just taken him. But taking him above Katron, definitely not what the lobby would have spent the price on. And I don't know if he's like desperately important to my roster. I trust the floor with Stafford and Tyler Shuck. Tyler Shuck was averaging 19 plus points per game when he was closing it out final 6 weeks in New Orleans last year. So with Jordan Tyson coming in year 2 in the offense, I trust him quite a bit. I believe Tyler Shuck will be a very consistent play. And then Stafford will also be rather consistent. I might not have a 30-point ceiling too often, but I think my quarterbacks consistently give me 20 points every single week. And I can get away with that in a 1v1 setting with some upside elsewhere. But running back is really the crux of the lineup. We were at the bookend, so trusting that ADP, Saquon, and then Derrick Henry, some late buys, and I think favorable production profile, especially early season. I like Saquon's schedule a lot. Rashee Rice at pick 36, early buy, but still the focal point of that offense, a phenomenal value in my opinion. Cam Scatabo, I think, will be healthier than expected, but once he's on the field, it gives me top 12, even top 5 upside every week, so love him in the flex. JMO at 60, a little volatile, but I'm not afraid to have a 20-point type of player in my lineup most weeks. Roman Dunze, though, hopefully is healthy and stays healthy, but probably should be more consistent. QJ, also volatile, but we got some interesting values, and I don't want to just shy away from ceiling in the Eliminator. I think some people bank on the floor a little bit too much, and next thing you know, you're finishing 8th, week 1 in the pod. You did not finish last. You had a decent floor, but you just didn't have the ceiling because every guy was a little too mid to count on. So let's get some spike weeks, and if I die by this strategy, so be it. 50% of the drafted teams in this contest won't even be alive by week 2. We get down below 10% before any money is made. Week 5, there's only 6% of the contest left remaining. So keep that in mind. Just get some high upside plays every now and then. Don't worry too much. And JMO pick 60 is pretty ridiculous, if you ask me. But Rome Odunze, Quentin Johnston, we're trusting QJ in the Mike McDaniel system. Stephon Diggs, Travis Hunter, Tank Dell are my receivers. Travis Hunter and Tank Bell better be healthy week 1. That's all I can say. Tank Dell might be worthless, though, but the team also might be dead in the first place. But tight end, I think, works pretty well with Goddard, Chigo Conquo, and AJ Barner. Different buys all around. Katron and Justice Hill will fill in later. But Rico Dowdle helps me a lot. And then my quarterback play is going to be mostly floor-driven, but some good assets in Stafford and Tyler Shuck. And Shuck, week 1 at Detroit, I think helps me advance in this pod. I think that's pretty critical to my chances of moving on. All right. Let me catch up with the chat real quick. We got Arizona Mountain Man trying to work off some of those drafter site credits. Definitely worth some of our time later. But it looks like the poll has spoken. We are currently at 59% Best Ball Mania. And that will be the move, especially if you claimed your free BBM challenge. Play 4, get 1 on Underdog Mobile. If you're planning to join us in that lobby, make sure you claim the challenge. You have less than an hour. It's on your mobile tab under the promo section. Scroll down and claim it. Do it now. Whether you draft 4 or not, it's worth claiming. That's for sure. Mike McCullough says, I was surprised you passed on the Achane slide. In this one, nah, I don't want Achane over Henry in the first place. But Travis Hunter stocks, I noticed that at practice, he is never wearing the defensive color jersey. He's always wearing the offensive color jersey. They are planning to use him on offense this year. No doubt about it. I am saying there's a chance. I'm saying there's a very legit chance that Travis Hunter pays off. Oh no, people on Twitter said he sucks. Oh no. Give me all the Hunter again. I don't give a fuck. For the price compared to last year, it's worth a shot. The odds that he goes down next year, I don't think are as high as him increasing his ADP this time next season. If you had to tell me where Travis Hunter is drafted next year, when he's going 157 right now, I think it's much more likely he's closer to pick 100 than pick 200. I would absolutely say he moves up the board over the course of the season, then moves down. Adams and Stafford said he was a baller. I think I will trust them. Brenton Strange is the true Jags league winner. That's a stance to take. The thing about Brenton Strange, he does not score as many touchdowns as you think. He does not get as involved in the touchdown department. I was trusting Brenton Strange a lot more than the average person was last year when he got back on the field. He's one of my favorite waiver wire claims, weekly starts in the streaming category. He did not pay off as much as I thought he would. So he's fine. I think where he goes is appropriate. I don't think he's going to be that much more elite than some of the company next to him. He will be good though. He's not a bad pick. Definitely not a bad pick. That's like drafting William the Refrigerator Perry at RB. Who, Justice Hill? What's up, Bayou? How we doing? Bayou, another awesome streamer on the channel, friend of the channel, has been on the channel. Yo, what do you feel about Tyler Shuck week 1 at Detroit? Is he not one of the key pieces in the eliminator to advance in the pod? I feel like it's a very strong pick, in my opinion. But if there was a chatbot in Underdog, my account would probably get banned, says Bazinga. I imagine it's not there for like collusion purposes is the main point. But the movie with Nail and I is really good. I've never seen that before. Never seen it. You quoting Bruce Almighty, Pepper Tony? That has nothing to do. Yeah, my running back room in here is pretty solid. How we doing, Ever in Flux? Good evening to you as well. AMC says I like wedding cakes. Also, there's many cheeses. I don't usually go to the dispensary as often anymore. I usually get it delivered, and I kind of just stick with what I often get. But I wouldn't be shocked if there's a shit ton of different cheese names. It sounds a little janky, though. Cheese? Probably not the highest quality. Henry was RB1 last year in week 1. If you go back a few years before that, though, it was a little different. He also dropped off, I think, in week 2. I believe Justice Hill had like a really big game early in the season. I'm pretty sure Justice Hill was a big factor. It may not have been week 1 last year, but if you go back a couple years, it definitely was the case. In 2025, Justice Hill in week 6. Oh, no, my bad. In week 4, at the Chiefs, Justice Hill had 2 different touchdowns. He had 6 carries. 3 carries for 76 yards and a touchdown. He had 6 targets, 5 catches for 41 yards and a touchdown. So in week 4, you needed Justice Hill instead of Derrick Henry. And that's early enough in the season where if that happens again, you might be screwed. I don't think handcuffing Derrick Henry is the worst plan because we have seen Justice Hill really pop at times. And then if we go back to 2024, I believe this is the week. Yeah, 2024, Justice Hill had 8 targets in this game, 6 catches for 52 yards, and Derrick Henry only had like 40 yards and a touchdown. Derrick Henry did not have a great game. Now, it's not like 6 catches for 52 yards is that much better than 4. That's not that valuable either. But I do fear some of the weeks where Justice Hill pops off. Also, week 4 last year, 6 for 6, 78 and a touchdown. That's pretty legit from Justice Hill. He does have some major spike weeks at times. Sorry for blinding you. That was not intentional whatsoever. Everyone Flux likes the Gorilla Glues. Henry bookend week 1 and week 17. No mids, only exotics. I'm like Joe Exotic. I got a Bengal tiger living with me. It's a different Bengal, but it's still a Bengal. Uh, Ooh, about to click Brissett there. Love to hear it. Yeah. Super Beast did not let me have Brissett. Keith sniped me, but Tynasty, I guess, wanted him in his lobby. Sorry, the A-Chan slide in the drafters earlier, you went Rice. Yeah, when I look at total points, I could easily see Rashi Rice structurally be a better pick in full PPR than Devon Achan. I kind of regret it down the stretch, but I didn't think it was the worst move I could make. Down the end of the board, I kind of wished I took it, but I was willing to go whiteout. I'm sure the team behind me though was happy I passed. Um, Gorilla Glue fucks up my eyes too much. Can't smoke it. You don't know that much about weed. Look, man, weed is nice. I don't think you need to make it your true and one and only personality. It's a trait. It's not the only part of my lifestyle. I just want a good deal. I want to have a good time. And I also don't want to get fucking fleeced at the dispensary. So I don't care too much about being a connoisseur on every single strain. I honestly don't really care if if that's true or not. I smoke what I want to smoke, and I have a good time. Justice Hill always goes for 30 plus at least once a year. Yeah, there's gonna be one game where Justice Hill fucking smashes. It's probably early on in the year. Maybe the last 2 week fours are an indication. But let's take a look at Super Beast roster. He is a member, drafting right next to me. But we got Jared Goff, Sam Darnold, and Brissett. Brissett 203, I think, is probably worth it in the Eliminator. Swift, Jalen Warren, J.K. Dobbins. Dobbins more valuable in the Eliminator as well. Blake Corum, Chris Rodriguez, and Sean Tucker. Love the Rodriguez pick. A balanced running back room, but kind of mid overall. Not like elite upside. There's not that many 20-plus point games I can envision here. Sean Tucker probably hits for 30 points again, at least once, but I see a lot of like 14, 15 pointers, and that can get it done, but like I was saying, sometimes I think maybe in this contest some people favor floor a little bit too much. I'm surprised he didn't take a running back earlier than Swift, but CeeDee Lamb, A.J. Brown, Zay Flowers start off with 3 wideouts. Pulling up A.J. Brown was definitely a choice. Christian Watson, though, a good wide receiver 4. We got Ryan Flournoy, Calvin Ridley, and Keenan Allen. If Keenan does play, he's not a terrible pick in this. Should be more valuable earlier on than later. We got Sam Laporta and Hunter Henry as well. Good tight end room. Pretty awesome receiver room, especially if these veterans are worth something. But then running back just a little bit mid, and then quarterback is also more of a floor play. But the Goff versus New Orleans week 1 should be lit. Darnold against the Patriots, I'm not totally sure. And then Brissett should give you some starts at least. Weeks 1 to at least week 6. Maybe they move on to Gardner Minshew if he's like 0-6, but it's really just the record that might keep Brissett off the field. But Goff, at least week 1, has a very good game. Not upset at quarterback overall, but it is pretty mid. Quarterback and running back, not the best you could find. Receiver and tight end, though, is great. We got is J-Rock in here? I feel like this is not J-Rock to party. I'm not sure if this is somebody watching. It's possible that we did not have many friends and family in this lobby. If you guys are, let me know. But in all honesty, I don't really recognize anyone. So I think I'm just going to move on. I think we're just going to draft a BBM. And if somebody lets me know they were in that lobby and wants a team review, we can go back to it. But I definitely don't recognize a member of the Blunt Rotation. So I'm going to move on. We're going to draft a Best Ball Mania. First, though, I'm going to clear the pipe. And we're going to take a little quick smoke break. And then we'll draft in BBM. So get ready if you want to join. We'll be drafting very, very soon. One quick reminder though, promo code BLUNT gets you $50 in bonus entries on sign up. New customers, promo code BLUNT, link is in the description. Play your first 5 and get 50 on the house, and your first deposit will be matched 50% up to $1,000. Link is down below. But one final reminder, I pinned this comment for a reason, and if you want to enter into this Best Ball Mania, I highly recommend you claim the free BBM challenge. You have to play 4. You have 2 calendar days. You have 48 hours to get it done. But once you draft 4, you will get a free entry on the site. You have to claim the promo on your mobile app. And this is the final reminder I will give. Just want to mention it in case we have some new people that didn't hear it the first time. On your mobile app, the promo, claim your free BBM challenge over there. But I'm hopping in to BBM 7 in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Raitai in the house. What's good, my man? How we doing? Anthony says, rather you know more about drafting than weed, but I know, right? Weed is a nice little enhancer, but it's not the end-all be-all, even if I smoke every day. But people buy cake strain because it tests over 30%. Gotcha. I mean, I've mentioned it on the channel a few times. I don't think you need 30% THC. I don't think you need it. Now, if your tolerance level can't really enjoy weed below it, then that's kind of a bummer. And if it forces you into buying that, then so be it. But I kind of feel like it's gone a little too far. I will get high at 25%. I will get high at 27%. I don't think it needs to hit 30% for me to enjoy myself. That's my take on it. But look at this man's eyes. You're telling me he doesn't know much about weed. I mean, I know about what weed does to me. I know about my experience. And that's ultimately all I care about. To quote the late, great Terrence McKenna, the felt presence of immediate experience is all we ever have had, or will have. The felt presence of your immediate experience. And if you want to smoke 30% THC, all the power to you. Enjoy. I will enjoy what I got. And that's perfectly fine if it's not the same. But in this lobby, we got Tynasty in the house. He got pick 101 with Gibbs. Bart is drafting. He took Bijan at the 102. J. Shap Rocky took Jamar Chase. I love bad bitches. That's my fucking problem. Monkfish has Puka on his team at pick 4. Geo209 took JSN at pick 5. Batwheat in the house. He's a member. He took Amon-Ra at pick 6. Not a bad choice. Ashton Genty goes to I Was Inverted at the 107. CMC to Niners fan. Shocker. And then Jantara takes Taylor. I am on the clock. Y'all might think this is off-brand, but I'm going to get a little bit different. I'm going to go Ken Walker, who I actually believe could finish worth a first-round pick, and I'm going to try to pair him up with someone who also goes in the second round. I'm going to get a little bit different on this one in Best Ball Mania. I have a shit ton of Hampton exposure in this contest. I'm going to be a little bit different. My plan is for 2 running backs, and if Saquon is there, I'll just take him. However, my honest plan was not to take Hampton, not to take Saquon. Damn it! Green Bean. I was going to go Chase Brown. Now, the bring back Hampton and Walker is always very valuable, but like I said, I have a lot of Hampton, and that's kind of always the plan. So If you're going to decide to give me Saquon at 15, I will take him there. Essentially, I took Saquon at 10 and Ken Walker at 15. That's essentially what happened. 2 second-round picks, though, just a little bit different. And if Saquon doesn't go down, I don't want to have 0 of him. I've actually been clicking Saquon a little bit more often lately. I know I'm the Tank Bigsby guy, but I believe in the Eagles' offense, and I don't want to be totally burned not having any Saquon. When Bigsby, I think, is a good bet based on the system, and the system is still committed and tied to Saquon Barkley. But Ever in Flux trying to jinx me with pick 4. It didn't happen. It didn't happen today. We get pick 10, and just go a little bit off the beaten track with Ken Walker there, but whatever. Ken Walker, Saquon Barkley is fine enough. I really wanted Ken Walker, Chase Brown, though. I really did. And those are 2 guys that go in the second that I think could both hit at picks 10, 11, 12. I could absolutely see both Ken Walker and Chase Brown finish the year as top 6, top 7 running backs. And they're just going to be a little bit less paired with together than typical. So could have set it up for the bring back Hampton versus Walker. But today, it's different. I will go Saquon Barkley, but I have 20% exposure to Hampton overall this summer, and it's even more in BBM. I have even more shares of Hampton in BBM so far. Bill Bratsky is a sativa guy himself. Give me some Jack or Green Crack. I'm more of an indica guy. I prefer the indica. I don't mind a hybrid, though. Hybrid is pretty reliable, especially an indica dominant hybrid. But sometimes I'll buy a sativa and I will smoke through that shit so quickly because I just don't feel it. Like sometimes my tolerance to sativa is, it makes the weed feel so soft, so weak. I mean, if anything, it makes me crave a 30% THC type of thing. But as long as it's indica, I'm doing perfectly fine. Weed is instrumental, not an end. Peppertoni, I have to do a dab every half hour to get high. That's the person I don't want to be. You know, like, I know some people like that. I've met some people like that. You know, when you have to, I mean, back in the day before the dispensaries were live, at least in Boston, it was a factor. In Boston, it was kind of tough. Yo, Travis gonna make it back? This is Best Ball Mania. Really? I'll do that. I can't have T. Higgins or any of the other round 3 receivers. I'll just take Travis, and we'll have a really strong running back room. Ken Walker, Saquon Barkley, Travis Etienne. A little bit unique. Maybe not the most unique possible, but typically Travis is not making it to pick 34. So I'll grab him. But John Tar, phenomenology. That's a tongue twister. Phenomenology. Word. Yo, what's up, DJ Quill? Welcome in. I know DJ Quill likes drafters. And you know what? Speaking of that, we're going to offer a new poll. I'm not drafting in BBM for a second time in a row. I want at least one of them to be off stream. That's for sure. I should probably grab receiver. Probably. But instead, I'm going to pull up Jalen Waddle instead of sticking with Tedder McMillan. The ADP says Tet. That's on this side of the board. I'm going to disregard ADP. I'm going to get a little bit different. Not in love with his Week 17 matchup, but I also believe that Jalen Waddle could just be worth this pick. And I'm definitely not going to have many shares of Ken Walker, Saquon Barkley, and Jalen Waddle. So I already got a little bit different. I think Waddle is one of the correct round 4 receivers. And once I lump you into the round, I kind of don't really care what individual spot you go at. I don't like taking Garrett Wilson. I don't love taking Tedder McMillan. I'd rather be tied to Bo Nix than either Geno Smith or Bryce Young. And I think that's a major factor when considering your early round picks, especially wide receiver 1. I waited for a while to draft receiver. I will grab Waddle here at pick 39. And shout out Best Ball Guy. It is Best Ball Guy week, and he's been talking up Waddle for quite some time. I have slowly come around on Waddle, and I think he might be correct on his Waddle stance. So there are factors that influence my opinion, and I will give some credit where credit is due. Not exclusively Best Ball Guy, but most recently what probably kind of sold me like, yeah, I don't want to be thin on Waddle was earlier this week listening to Best Ball Guy. Shout out Eric. Awesome channel over there. If you haven't checked it out already, free promo for someone in the space. I think deserves it. But C. Crowder into couch for nice and blunt. We're into chair. We're into chair and drafting. We're on the stream. I'm more interested in streams than strains. I'm more interested in getting a good deal when I buy weed on something that will last and allow me to enjoy myself, have a good time. I do not need to be up to date on the latest and newest shit all the time. Keith the Big Shooter, thoughts on drafting Cook round 1 when Allen is on the board towards the end of round 3? What do you do in that scenario? If you already have Cook and Allen is there, I'm probably pairing it up. I'd rather pair it up in round 4. And so I think if you're at the bookend, you might as well just take him. But I think if there's a receiver you like that's still available ahead of Allen, then you should go in that direction as well. I'm not convinced I would have gone Javonte over Josh Allen like Green Bean did right there. I think I would have gone Ladd McConkey over Allen, but I think in round 4, you do take Josh Allen and just move on. I think you do just accept that it's a fair price. You're not going to get another chance at it, and you might as well take it while you can. But if you want to pass, it's also not the worst move. Not the worst move in the world. I'm going to trust my rankings. Sorry, Green Bean. This is really nothing personal. I don't see the need of taking Bucky Irving right here. I vehemently rank DJ Moore above Tate and Rome Odunze. I like Carnell Tate. I like Rome Odunze, but not as much as I like DJ Moore. So I know you have Waddle. I know you have Josh Allen. I have Waddle. I am not going to let you have the stack. Unfortunately, it is not a snipe. It is what I think is the correct pick. Why I took DJ Moore there. But Allen ultimately does not need to be stacked up to hit. Here, though, I guess I'll bite the bullet and take Tyson. I'm not in love with it, but I need receiver points, and Quentin Johnston is no longer a guarantee to be on the board with my next pick. So I'll take Tyson, top of ADP. My next highest ranked receiver after this point, him and Quentin Johnston, I kind of have back-to-back. But I think down the stretch, rookies usually pop a little bit extra second half of the season, especially after the bye. And I think his breakout potential in the fantasy playoffs is probably worth it. I love the Saints schedule. I think they're a really good team to bet on. And I also want to open the door for a good quarterback. I got a shit ton of Justin Herbert. Tyler Shuck stacked up with Tyson instead of Juwan Johnson would help my exposures. I have a lot of Shuck and Juwan Johnson. Not as much Shuck and Jordan Tyson. But Anthony, is this my last draft of the night? We have 61 people watching. If we can get 52, I'll say 52 likes, we'll draft number 3. And I'm going to set up a new poll. Draft number 3 at 52 likes. Kind of an arbitrary number, but 55 sounded like too many. Eliminator or drafters. Best Ball Mania is not an option for draft 3. But yeah, the Waddle stocks, he's a fine click in round 4. All of the receivers in round 4 are kind of worth like top of round 5. It's just kind of like the priority of who do you want. And given he rarely goes on this side of the board, it's a little bit more unique, a little bit different. And I do think he's correct. I think he's one of the correct picks in the 4th round. I'm not going to argue that Waddle should be falling to the 5th ever. So Waddle at 39, not much different than Waddle at 44, 45. I think it's pretty legit. And then it opens the door for Bo Nix later as well. He is sneaky good. He definitely is. He throws a shit ton of passes. A lot of them are near the line of scrimmage, but if anything, that might help Jalen Waddle. Waddle, if he's going to return top 10 production, kind of needs to return to what he was like as a rookie, more so the last 3 years in the Mike McDaniel system. Alongside Tyreek Hill, his role has changed. He was much better, I think, in the role his rookie year. But I am on the clock. I don't want Dak Prescott at all. I think I'm just going to take Ramondre, who's falling here. Ramondre 82, a pretty nice price. And having 4 running backs in Best Ball Mania, I have to remind myself that receiver gets more coveted in this format. I have to remember that. Receivers come off the board a little bit more urgently than the other formats. Green Bean, though, only has 2 receivers. I have 3 at least. But taking Ramondre 7 picks past ADP feels pretty solid. Don't have much of him. I'll take him there today. I'm actually not totally in love with Jaden Reed. Last year, he was just so banged up. I'm not dying to do it, to be honest with you. There's an argument I should be pulling up Bo Nix right here, to be honest, but I don't have the stack with T-Law. I don't have a stack with Mahomes. I could take Mahomes with Walker, but I think just grabbing Josh Downs, opening up a Daniel Jones selection, another quarterback option, not terrible. Because if I don't get Bo Nix, my quarterback options kind of dwindle quickly. Taking DJ Moore, the only problem with that is that unless you already had Josh Allen, you're never stacking him up. That's the problem with taking DJ Moore. You're usually grabbing him unstacked. And it's not that that can't work, but in general, I like to draft receivers with the stack in mind, and that is obviously removed from the equation because Allen goes ahead of DJ Moore. I'm not going to take Sutton. Even if he was there, I was not going to take him. John Tara, though, not really happy to see that he took Sutton in front of me. If anything, that makes him much more likely to just draft Bo Nix at 105. If Bo Nix is going to fall, if the RJ Harvey drafter doesn't take him, then the Sutton drafter probably snipes me. And maybe that is the dilemma with pulling up Waddle. But Waddle can still hit without the stack. It's not that bad. But Green Bean, that's fine. I was taking Tate and pushing Moore. Taking him if he made it back. Yeah. DJ Moore shouldn't really be falling to the end of the 5th, if you ask me. DJ Moore is much more likely late round 4 type of value than late round 5. So as much as I like Tate, Rome, and Dunze there, I prefer DJ Moore ahead of them. But at least we made Spears happy. At least Spears appreciates it. Peppertoni 52 in honor of Ravens legend Ray Lewis. Let's go. 52. Yeah, we did hit 52 likes. That's exactly what it is. You know it, Peppertoni. You know it. Everyone Flex, Team 3 has a squad. Team 3 went Jamar Chase, Nico Collins, Breece Hall, DeAndre Swift, Christian Watson at 51. Him and BTJ were pulled up to this side of the board. He goes Parker Washington, Tony Pollard at 75. I like a lot. Don't love the Brees Hall pick, but receivers looking solid. Mahomes unstacked, and then J.K. Dobbins. It's not bad. I don't love the RB1, but receiver feels very strong. And the unstacked Mahomes probably takes Kelsey at 118. But not only is Bo Nix off the board, he went to the Harvey drafter. Batwheat, who is listening, did scoop him up. Did grab Bo Nix. I'm going to go Matthew Golden first. Just fill out the wide receiver room. I think that's a player that can really break out. And if somehow I do get sniped on Tyler Shuck, that's the main plan, though. My plan is to grab Shuck. Because the Olave drafter is also Batwheat, so I don't expect Batwheat to pass on Shuck at 126. If not 115. But not only do I have Jordan Tyson, I also have Travis Achan, so I have a double stack. I have a pretty solid investment in New Orleans, and I think he can be a pretty productive asset, but I'm kind of just pushing quarterback, trying to get a very, very productive flex type of room. Whether it's running back or receiver, I want the player hitting my lineup to be very strong every week. The 0450, wow, Kincaid goes to Green Bean at 110. Not risking it, just taking him. For the sake of the value, there's an argument I should go with Stafford or Goff, but I'm pretty committed. I'm not going to get a quarterback to fall back to me. I'm just going to go Shuck, and I'm going to get the stack. I'm going to get the stack here with Tyler Shuck. The team is pretty committed to it, and I will take him here. Because the back stack with Stafford is a little bit disappointing. I'm willing to do it. Not in love with this decision. Maybe I should have taken a quarterback earlier. But I just didn't really get the stacking options that I wanted. But yeah, running back room is very strong. The price on Ramondre was just a little too good to pass. Chad says this is gross, trying a different build, and it didn't work out. I'm kind of doing that too. Starting off with Trip RB and Ramondre. I think I'm going to stop at 4 potentially. But you started with 4 RBs as well, went hyper fragile. It can be tough to come back from sometimes. But you have Caleb unstacked. That's always a little bit awkward. Adams, Harrison, Worthy. You took Pittman. You almost got Stafford to make it back. He did not fall. You went Myers instead. Good luck, Chad. Good luck. But, yeah, Bo Nix did not fall. I wasn't going to get him. I'm sure John Tara would have scooped him up. We're only halfway through this draft. I still don't doubt myself. I think I can still make it out on top. But Jamie wants me to smoke some weed. I got to pack the bowl. But how about after this pick, we hit the pipe and I get it ready right now. But yeah, the Harvey drafter not letting us have any fun. But Travis Hunter goes 127 in this one. Interesting. Definitely some big belief in him. Jamie is so high right now. All I smell like is smoke. That's not the worst problem to have. Shamrock asking who is the Chiefs' backup running back. I believe it's Emmett Johnson. I believe Emmett Johnson will win the job. I think he is worthy of that status as the RB2. But like I expected, quarterback did not make it back. I'm just going to take Malik Willis here. I'm tempted to go C-Rod, though. I'm very tempted to take C-Rod. But my running back room is very good already. Structurally, I don't think that's the wise choice. I think I just need points, and Malik Willis is the pull in case of emergency. No need to stack quarterback. I believe he will be just as valuable as Justin Fields was last year, but I think he actually has a higher chance of playing all 17 games. I am worried about his bench risk, but I also know that he's going to run the ball enough to carry me from a floor standpoint, and I don't have many stacking options in the first place. I will just take him here and be good with it. Now, the question is, if I want Daniel Jones, I might have to take him here too. But wow, Chris Rodriguez falls another round. I'm not going to pass at 135. I'm willing to just trust that C-Rod is healthy. And here we go. We are living. The running back room is fantastic on this team. Kenneth Walker, Saquon Barkley, Travis Etienne, Mondre Stevenson at pick 82, and then Chris Rodriguez at 135. So I could have gone C-Rod and hoped to get Malik Willis. I don't think that was a guarantee at all. It's not like the A-Chain drafter is on this side, but there's Gordy Bueno, who only had Dak Prescott, definitely could have been in the market for an unstacked Malik Willis. So the price is pretty fair on Malik. No stack necessary, all the rushing yards. And maybe the Dolphins are better than some people think. But like I said, pull in case of emergency. Quarterback Malik Willis is a value. Like I said, though, we're going to take a rip from the pipe. Let me scroll down, show you more of the board. All right, let's go. AMC, I'll never understand stacking a quarterback with a running back. It depends on the running back, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you Travis Etienne is as good as Christian McCaffrey. But Travis definitely has the skill set to catch passes. In the Kellen Moore system, I just want the player. And especially if Kamara goes down, you're telling me we might get 5-6 targets in a shootout atmosphere with a running back as explosive as Travis Etienne. I do think he's one of the ones I'm willing to stack. It maybe isn't the most obvious player to stack, but I don't think it's dumb to do. It's not the thing to force all the time, but it is a relevant combo to have. I have won some leagues with a stacked running back and quarterback. Like 2 years ago, I won the subscriber league with Jared Goff and Jahmyr Gibbs. And in the final week, Gibbs did have a receiving touchdown. It was a house call receiving touchdown. So you can find your way into that. Daniel Jones did go to Batwheat as expected. That team with Tyler Warren did take him. Like I said, I kind of needed to go Daniel Jones there, perhaps. But I don't take him. It's not the end of the world. The price on C-Rod was pretty valuable, if you ask me. Gadsden falls to 154. I don't have a tight end yet, and it's an offense I trust. Sure, why not? I'll go Oronde Gadsden. I'm not convinced that Greenbean or Gordy will snipe me on both of these tight ends. Around the turn, they both have 2 tight ends already. Kraft and Kincaid. Sadiq at 108. Holy shit. I didn't even notice that. Gordy Bueno is a madman. He takes Bryce Young, but he took Sadiq at 108 and Kelsey at 109. Holy shit. That's crazy. The team I have built is pretty committed to Tyler Shuck and the New Orleans Saints. So I will hyper commit. I will get the onslaught, so to speak. The running back in Travis, the receiver in Jordan Tyson, and the tight end in Juwan Johnson. Greenbean took Bigsby. I was not in the market for Bigsby. Good to see him moving up the board, though, in the 14th round. My boy, Tank Bigsby. But today, I do love Tyler Shuck. Today, I do. I do think he's pretty good. He's more of a consistency play, though. That's mostly it. And then I have the mega stack. So we're just building that out. Really believing in that. But I love their schedule. I think the offense will take another step with Tyson there. I don't mind building out a mega Shuck stack. I don't mind it. every now and then. I wouldn't be overweight on these types of builds, but committing in Best Ball Mania to a guy like Shuck, I don't think is terrible. For the price, if it hits, it's pretty solid. Quarterback 19 in ADP, and we're betting on him as the quarterback 15, basically. We pulled him up a few spots, but we did smoke. We already did. Dynasty, I usually hate drafting at the turns, but this board is falling nicely. Dynasty from the 101. Let's take a peek. He took Gibbs, Rashi Rice, and Devontae Smith. Then JMO and Mike Evans. So push running back at times that can be tricky from the 101. But then paired up Jalen Hurts with Devontae Smith. Grabbed Jalen Warren, a pretty fair decision. I prefer Pollard, but a fair choice, not terrible. Brock Purdy with Evans, not bad at all. Laporta and George Kittle. Rashad White, Jalen McMillan. Trey Tucker at 145. And then double taps RB goes Jonah Coleman, Dylan Sampson. Don't love that. You were a little bit behind at running back. You do have Gibbs, so that's fine. Rashad as RB3 pick 121 was quite a gift. If you did not get Rashad, you might have been screwed. That was a gift, if you ask me. Saved you. Running back would have been gross. Even just Jordan Mason would have been a steep drop-off. But Rashad, really valuable there. And then good luck with Coleman and Sampson. But pretty solid team. Receivers really strong. Tight end looks pretty good. And then quarterback with the Eagles, Niners bring back built out. No issue with that. What would be dope on this team is had I gotten like a Kyle Pitts to get the bring back. There's not that many Falcons to take. So I was never planning on Drake London in round 2. And then Kyle Pitts went pick 98. I was not drafting him at 87. So would have been nice. Not the end of the world, though. I have Matthew Golden. Major breakout appeal. Happy with that decision. Debo, if he falls here, I would scoop up. Pick 178 on Debo. Not expecting it. John Tara, though, goes Fernando Mendoza. The quarterback picks were taken. That's kind of annoying. I'll take Debo, though, at 178. Wide receiver 6, a hefty discount. 16 total picks on Debo. I can't pass. I was very tempted to go with Zachariah Branch there, but I'll go Debo. Yo, what's happening? Did it freeze? Yo, I'm sorry about that. I don't know what happened there. That's really weird. My phone says it too. My phone says it too. There it is, finally. Holy shit. Sorry about that. I wasn't in control. But Dulcich goes to Green Bean. Makes sense. Branch goes at 180. My quarterback room is rather gross. Rather gross. Taking Kamara, I think, would be overkill. I'll just take Pat Freiermuth. I don't really care about ADP. Don't expect him to make it back. The Aaron Rodgers drafter is right there. Niners fan was probably planning for him. He does have Pittman, so he's not dead in the water. But I'll go tight end. I was hopeful that Dulcich would make it back, and that was kind of the plan. We did not get a good value at quarterback. I needed to just draft Jaden Daniels on this team, probably. I think passing on Daniels for Tyson is what kind of fucked this team. I think that was ultimately the mistake, because no doubt about it, my quarterback room is pretty mediocre, pretty bogus. I could luck into this Tyler Shuck Stackway working out, but like this is not a team I'm really boasting about too much. The Travis pick put me in an odd spot. We go Waddle. We do not get Bo Nix. And I think passing on Daniels or Drake May, I think was ultimately the big mistake. I should have taken Drake May for the Waddle bring back. That's what I should have done. This Tyson click is where I fucked up. Because had I gotten Rodgers there, it would have been kind of a saving grace. We did not get a quarterback to circle back. I was hopeful for Daniel Jones, but just like with Bo Nix, Batwheat sniped me on both of those quarterbacks. Just wasn't in the cards today. I pushed it a little too far. This team might not be totally dead, but it needs a lot to break right at quarterback, and I'm probably too far behind to maybe finish top 2. That is ultimately the big issue with this team. I'm not going to say this is my best team. That's for sure. It's different. There are elements of it I like, but it's not my best team. Have I done any weekly winners? No, I have not. Crowder, I've been on DK for a while. The ADPs have changed here a bit. That is another site I'm not checking out at all so far. Pepper Tony says the Dolphins GM from the Packers, Dolphins coach from the Packers, bench risk low, top 12 fantasy quarterback risk high. He's not going to be relevant every week, but he will offer some consistency because of the rushing stats. Not worried about that at all. Did I mention I tried to max out the little Dalmatian for all 101 spots? I made it to 63 slow drafts and 37 fast. So I was one short, one shy. That's crazy. Maybe take Emmett as Walker insurance, but on this team, no. With C-Rod there, I was more inclined to go with only 4 running backs than 5. With Chris Rodriguez, I'm absolutely done taking running backs. So that's kind of the silver lining of this team. The receiver room is just awesome. But I think I'm going to go Tua because I need quarterback points. And I think he's going to play the most in Atlanta. I believe so. And then lastly, I'll go receiver. If I want a Falcon, it's Jahan Dotson or Zacchaeus. I'm not going to take a Falcon. That's where the fall on Debo was unfortunate. Maybe Debo signs with the Falcons and I luck out. But it's just receiver here. In terms of bringbacks, not that many options. I might just go Tyquan Thornton because I know he's going to give me some spike weeks. I know his role. I think he's a solid pick. I'm going to go Tyquan on this one. I'll take Tyquan. We have a chief for that Chargers game. Bring back. I at least have one Charger on this team. That's pretty lit. But quarterback is the issue on this one. The price was inexpensive, but ultimately I am locked into the Tyler Shuck stack, and that may be the reason this team does fall down the rankings and just never cracks the top 2. You have to exit the pod. That's very important. That's critical, and that's where in this lobby I probably should have taken Jaden Daniels. But had I gone Jaden Daniels, my receiver room would still be kind of mid. Starting off 3 running backs is where I felt the pressure to go with Tyson. So that's ultimately the decision, the narrative point of this roster. Tyson is that much more valuable than the quarterbacks in round 6. He was worth it on this team, and he's the piece you need to win it all. And therefore, Tyler Shuck is that much more critical to have then Jaden Daniels. I'm not saying I fully believe in that argument, but that's basically the argument that this team might be making. If it's really going to do some damage. Who knows? Maybe I get lucky, though. And Malik Willis is just like quarterback 7 on the year. Maybe that's the element that gets the job done. But I also have 2 early bye weeks, week 8 and week 6. And so I took the Falcon that offers a little bring back. I do not have Tua stacked up, so it's kind of irrelevant. It's kind of just points at quarterback that I think helped me get through potentially. I needed some extra throws, and taking Tua there, I prefer than Brissett. I think Tua will be more valuable than Brissett, in all honesty. I do not like taking Jacoby Brissett at all. So that is ultimately the team. But running back is fun on this one. Let's give you the full recap. The full recap. We got Tyler Shuck, Malik Willis, and Tua Tagovailoa. Running back, though, is fucking loaded with Kenneth Walker, Saquon Barkley, a little bit different. Basically, I took Walker at ADP at pick 15, and then I pulled up Saquon by 3 picks. It wasn't as unique as I planned it to be. I wanted Ken Walker and Chase Brown. That would have definitely been a little bit different. But Travis at pick 34 was a really nice fall. Couldn't pass on it. Ramondre at 82, just letting the board dictate my strategy today. And maybe I indulged at RB a little too much, but I couldn't help myself. Chris Rodriguez at 135, my RB5 is maybe what also cost me on this team. Maybe I should have just grabbed Daniel Jones there to stack with Josh Downs, but not the end of the world, in my opinion. It's kind of just going to come down to if I'm right on Shuck. Waddle, though, could crush. I wished he was stacked. It didn't look like it was ever in the cards on this one. The Sutton and Harvey drafter would have sniped me. DJ Moore, though, at 58 is not bad at all. Tyson better work. Josh Downs should work. Golden could be the breakout candidate of the year. Could also have an elite ceiling in Green Bay if he is the leading candidate for 2 wide receiver sets next to Christian Watson. I think he might actually be more valuable than Jaden Reed. It is possible Golden is the play in the Packers system. But Debo at 178, that was a awesome faller. And maybe he ends up stacking with Tua or Malik Willis. It's possible. It's not impossible, but who knows? Tyquan Thornton, though, will play, and there's a bring back with our Chargers matchup. We have 2 Chiefs, Walker and Tyquan, and then Oronde Gadsden. But Juwan Johnson, Pat Freiermuth, our tight end room, despite waiting, has some elite upside. Gadsden can drop a 20-pointer. Juwan Johnson and Freiermuth should average around 9 points per game. I think like 8+ is a pretty safe guess. At tight end, that's pretty solid. So the team isn't bad. It's just kind of quarterback that just feels really mid. But then everything else is pretty strong. I think there's a decent chance that this team makes some noise contingent on Tyler Shuck. It's very important that Shuck pays off. So it is what it is. Maybe I needed Jaden Daniels, though. But yeah, Achane at 34, I think he had to take. But Daniels would really help this team. We got John Tara might be cooking something up. Let's remind ourselves who is in this lobby that gets a team review. We have Tynasty, not a member, though. We have Batwheat, it's a member. Niners fan, John Tara, all members, those 3 teams. And then I might take a look at Green Bean and Tynasty if I'm feeling it. But we did lock in draft number 3, and boy, the votes have spoken. Not many people want drafters. That's for sure. Eliminator is the vote. So one of these days, I will not let the audience decide. We're only going to draft on drafters one of these days, but not today. Not today. Do my quarterbacks have the same bye? No. Weeks 8, 6, and 11. I'm all set there. But let's take a look at John Tara. one of the blunt rotation members, right next to me at pick 9. He took Burrow, Stafford, and Mendoza. He took Taylor, Hampton, Quinshon Judkins, Kenneth Gainwell, and Nick Singleton. So quarterback pretty balanced. Running back feels very solid. Receiver with T. Higgins stacked up. Tedro McMillan at pick 40. Sutton, Jaden Reed, Stephon Diggs. Not bad with that. And then Juwan Jennings, Jeremy Bernard, and Andre Yoshivas. So the stack. Juwan Jennings at 160 is where he should go. And then Jeremy Bernard, 184. Not bad at all. Love the receiver room. To wait and end up with this, pretty solid. The T. Higgins pick is one of the best in round 3 overall. But then Dallas Goedert, Brenton Strange, only 2 tight ends on this one. Checks out. John Tara's team is very, very balanced. Very well built. Not as risky at quarterback as my team, that's for sure. Taking quarterback there was a wise choice. We had Niners fan in here as well with Caleb, Cam Ward, and Aaron Rodgers. Never mind the Cam Ward, Aaron Rodgers. It's never feels bad to have Cam Ward, Aaron Rodgers as your 2 backups with someone like Caleb Williams. That's totally fine. But 4 RBs out the gate, CMC, Achane, Kyron Williams, and Scatabo. That's phenomenal. Will they stay healthy? That's the only question, but awesome to have that. We do have a double week 8 bye, but that's fine. I'm not going to fault you for that. I would have stopped there as well. Devontae Adams, Marvin Harrison, and Xavier Worthy. Michael Pittman, Jacoby Myers at 113 is pretty solid. Romeo Doubs, Calvin Ridley, and Malik Washington. Pretty decent receiver room. Doubs at 128, also a nice little fall. So Adams holding it down. You have Stafford as well. Oh, no, you don't have Stafford. You got sniped on Stafford. Ferguson, Henry, and Gesicki is not too shabby, but not amazing. These 2 are mainly who you're betting on. And they're all right. They're not bad, but receiver's not the most exciting. Tight end is not the most exciting. Okay. Seeing your team versus mine, I probably should have just taken Daniel Jones instead of Chris Rodriguez. I think that falling price is what cost me. That would have made up for the Tyson pick. But we make our decisions and we live with it. It is what it is. Lastly, though, we got Batwheat in here. And Batwheat sniped me on 2 quarterbacks, but they're both solid clicks. And he had stacks to warrant them. It just wasn't in the cards for me today. He has Bo Nix, Jared Goff at 115, always sweet. And then Daniel Jones. Goff is also stacked up with Amon-Ra. That's pretty lit. That is dope. Jacobs, Travion, RJ Harvey, JCM, and Algier. The running back room is very risky, though. There's a world where this never hits your lineup consistently enough to pay off. This is possibly a very risky play. But Jacobs as your RB1 at pick 43. If it hits, you're in business. And then Travion should break out. I took Ramondre on this team, though. So at least for this pod, I hope you're wrong. Harvey, though, is solid at 91. Don't mind that. JCM, though, sucks. And then Tyler Algier, kind of gross in Arizona. But Amon-Ra, London, that's an elite combo with Olave number 3. That's awesome. Lemon, Shaheed, Tank Dell, and Troy Franklin. A little top-heavy, but not bad. High spike week potential. Dell, though, I think is a little bit more valuable and critical to this team's success than I would typically like. With Tyler Warren, I might have passed on one of these tight ends. Otten is a very mid-floor play. I think I'd rather have receiver 8 on this team, but that's kind of a nitpicky suggestion. I think it's just because Tank Dell is not that safe, nor is Troy Franklin. These 2 are not the best, and then I'm a little low on Mekhi Lemon personally. So that's where I feel like receiver, despite having 3 great ones, might be a little bit thin. But I have 7 receivers, and I don't have 3 that are as good as yours. So I'm also risking it quite a bit. Worth the risk, especially if Tank Dell hits. Good luck. So with that context, My receiver room, yeah, my receiver room is fine. It needs some breakouts to really happen, though. Running back might be too good. That is the expense I paid. We'll see. I could also make this team work, though. There's a chance my team works, especially if running back is just that elite. But once I bet on Saquon, this team is already kind of like a little bit different than my typical builds, and maybe that impacts how much I care about it in the first place. But all right, we're going to do an eliminator. I'm going to try and catch up with the chat pretty quickly. Kind of ignored it for a while. The team reviews always demand some more attention. So I'll give you guys a chance to get ready. We'll draft the eliminator as soon as I catch up, but I am pretty behind. So let's try and go quickly. Only 100 Dalmatians for Jamie. One short. What's the most players I should be taking from the same team? I would say 4 is probably the max. Once you get over 3, you're kind of pushing it. I think 2 or 3 is actually the sweet spot. 3 feels like the more reasonable limit to set, but usually I like it to be 4, unless it's the Chargers or maybe the Lions. Those teams, maybe I'll have a 5th one on occasion, but yeah, that pause was strange, but yeah, we're doing another draft. We're doing one more eliminator tonight, and then I think the next time you see me on the live stream, unless there's a cheaper contest, I think I might just stay with drafters next time, possibly, and then maybe only do one BBM. But if anyone's interested in joining an IDP Flex Combo League, reach out to Jamie. But if I get by week 8, I'm good. Hopefully my quarterback room doesn't need Tua too often, but Tua with that early season production, I think will help me out on the early bye weeks. Yeah, I haven't drafted in Best Ball Mania in a minute, and passing on round 6 quarterback was my downfall for sure. Gotcha. On a Willis team, I mean, Willis, like I was saying, probably just stays on the team for a while. The bye weeks, I'm willing to be more concerned about than Willis going down. If I had Jacoby Brissett, then I would want Michael Penix. But with Willis, I'm not going to panic about will he be on the field late season as much. I'll just take who I think gets the most starts and most points with Tua. But I don't really use ChatGPT. I don't think I'll do that. I'm willing to just trust my intuition on what are the deficiencies. The team's not bad. The team's interesting. The running back room is so good. So the team has some juice, but we'll see about quarterback. Yeah, Shuck is one of those guys that if he does hit, should be great. His production last year was so consistent. His last 6 weeks, he averaged over 19 points. To be precise, 19.3. That would have been a top 10 quarterback. And he also didn't have Jordan Tyson. He has some sneaky rushing value. His defense isn't very good. He gets a 4th place schedule. I think they can break out in a major way. So hopefully he returns on investment. But I maybe should have just taken Matthew Stafford there. Tankdale Sucks says, a carp. It's a question of health. If he can be back to his old self, he's not terrible, but I think it's also a fair bet to just assume he is washed and never going to be back to his full strength. He was just never meant to play long-term in the NFL. But Everin Flux, I also like Jacksonville Megastacks. That's not a bad team to throw out there. Yeah, that's a team you can also get away with. Maybe 4 or 5 isn't terrible. But there's not many teams like that are worth mega stacking. Typically, I think 3 is the sweet spot, but 4 is typically my limit. And today, we took 4 New Orleans Saints. All right, I'm hopping into the eliminator in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. This is our final draft of the evening. It insta-filled. Don't see that too often. So you guys were ready. Maybe this lobby was already close to filling. I do not recognize too many people, but I do see Niners fan Chad is right next to me. And then Nez is in here as well. Not sure if Nez is watching someone with a... Is that silver or blue bet? I think it might be blue. Might just be a volume drafter. Not sure if Nez is watching. From Best Ball Bros. I hope I'm not wrong about... I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, please, in the chat. I don't know Nez personally, but I know of him. He's in this lobby. But otherwise, I don't recognize too many people. There's Trent P, Ty Wandre, Swole the God, Ivy Xer, Howl, Hatfry, Scopes. Might be drafting with Scopes. We'll see about that. But then Storybook and then Dick Gilly at the 102, Nez at the 101. Good luck, y'all, but I only recognize Niners fan. And then maybe Scopes. Maybe, but I'm not sure. Yeah, okay, I was right. I thought so. MC Spears, good luck in the overfill. Good luck to anyone who tried and didn't get in, but the big Trent stuff. I genuinely have no idea what this is. I genuinely have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, we're in the eliminator. I'll go Christian McCaffrey. CMC is going to be healthy week 1, most likely. The matchup isn't great. I will acknowledge against the Rams, it's not the best, but given how their offense is structured, given how George Kittle might not be 100% week 1, I would assume they just continue to lean on Christian McCaffrey, and the man gets 25 touches week 1. So I'll go CMC, expecting him to deliver in Australia week 1. Niners Rams should be a good game to bet on. I like Amon-Ra. I think he's a good bet, but CMC week 1, a pretty good pick as well. Now, Genti has a later bye week, so that's also a relevant toss-up decision, but I'll go Christian McCaffrey in the eliminator. Genti plays the Dolphins week 1. That's pretty sweet. It's also a home game. Should deliver. So if you prefer Genti, I don't mind it, but in my true rankings, I do still have Christian McCaffrey over Ashton Genti, and I'll still take him. But if you want a running back there, I think the only one you can justify over CMC is Genti because of the later bye. Yeah, this one, I was very surprised to see insta-full. In the eliminator, it was just a lobby that was already basically full in the first place. But, I mean, Achane versus the Raiders week 1 wouldn't be bad. Who do the Falcons play? They play the Steelers week 1. London's not terrible, but I know running back is coveted. I'll just take Achane at pick 18. Thought about it for a little bit, but let's just stick with ADP. But it looks like if you did not claim your Best Ball Mania challenge, the timer is up. You had to claim it before midnight, and it's 9:25. So on the East Coast versus West Coast, it is technically tomorrow. I'll unpin this comment. But tomorrow we'll probably draft one Best Ball Mania. Odds are I'll probably do one. That might be contradicting something I said previously, but Odds are I'll do at least one. After Achane goes, we see London, Bowers, Pickens, Nico, Kyron Williams, and Jeremiah Love. This is not that shocking. Running backs get steamed up. Now, team at 2 took 2 Week 11 buys. That could be an issue, but just to make it to Week 11 is also pretty valuable. And who knows what your chances are when you get there. You can also just draft 2 more running backs that'll be healthy and starting and get lucky. But I had to reset the chat filter, so bear with me for a second. But let me get your comments back up on the screen. Bill is asking, would I smoke a sativa strain if it was named Dank Bigsby? You know what? I would try it. I would try it. I will go Chris Olave. Detroit week 1 should be lit. And maybe he just has that that blood clot issue and it's a problem, but I would assume week 1 Olave's on the field. I'm not going to be too afraid to take Olave. But we have to finish top 6, and a game I expect to be a shootout is absolutely the Lions hosting the Saints, and their secondary is not the problem against the Detroit defense. No Terrion Arnold as well. Not a player to worry about. The secondary in Detroit is ultimately the Achilles heel of the team's chances to win a Super Bowl. Their defense is just not good enough. Secondary is dog shit. So the Lions probably win week 1, but that means extra passing game script out of Olave week 1. As long as he's healthy, I think he will deliver. And the volume should definitely be there. But IA Carp was saying RB quarterback. We let you down. Almost made it, but Olave there spoke to me. Was not going to pass, but is Niners fan going to take him? I did not let Niners fan have CMC. He's not let me have Scatabo. This wasn't the eliminator. I'd probably grab Malik Neighbors, but I think Terry is going to be pretty good. And the main concern with drafting Terry is if he's old and gets hurt. I think week 1 he will deliver. And Jaden Daniels should be healthy as well week 1. Terry doesn't have the best matchup you could ask for against the Eagles and Quinyon Mitchell. It's a tough corner matchup, but still that game's probably a high-scoring game. And in division, the Commanders always play the Eagles pretty tough. So I think he'll come in clutch. I think he'll be targeted a lot. And on the season, I trust Terry McLaurin to have a lot of touchdowns, a lot of targets. David Blau is making it pretty clear they're going to make him the focal point. They're trying to get Terry 10 targets a game. That's what the offensive coordinator said. I'm willing to take him at his word. So I trust Terry. I think he's a good pick in general. A reliable veteran I'm not worried about. And then this will definitely not allow me to pass on Jaden Daniels if he's there later on. In this lobby, I wouldn't expect it. I have a feeling in the eliminator, quarterback goes a little bit more expensive. But obviously, if he's there, the stack would make plenty of sense. I'll go Terry McLaurin. The bye week is a little early, but all the receivers in that range had early bye weeks. Tet was week 5. Evans was week 8. I already have. a Niner, and then Olave was also week 8. I could have taken a Waddle again, week 10 bye, or Luther Burden, also week 10. But we go Terry, trusting the veteran to be healthy week 1. But Ever in Flux likes our start a lot. He loves CMC Achan. Feels pretty solid. Achan could be pretty ineffective, though. From a touchdown standpoint, I am kind of worried about that. But for the sake of value, not going to be upset. Here, though, it's between Adams and Christian Watson. I'm going to grab Devontae Adams. Just really consistent, expecting a shit ton of touchdowns, and also sets up a Stafford combination. Having Stafford would be pretty sweet, pretty steady, consistent quarterback, MVP candidate last year, and I definitely don't want to fall behind at quarterback like I did in the last one. So grabbing Devontae Adams, never a bad choice, if you ask me, in the 5th round. I like Christian Watson a lot, but I don't think I can go against the Hall of Famer in Devontae Adams. If one of them was more injury prone, even though Adams is much older, I would still say Christian Watson could go down for the season more likely than the other guy. More likely than Adams, but the tiebreaker would have been bye week, and they have the same bye. So I'll stick to my rankings. I'll go Devontae Adams over Christian Watson. What was the Outer Space movie from 1993? I can't remember the title. Mars Attacks? Independence Day? I'm not sure. All right. Even though Brian Thomas is there, not going to make this mistake 2 times in a row. I actually rank Drake May above Jaden Daniels, but I have the stack, and I will go Jaden Daniels because I should have taken him on the last team. The bye week is later for Drake May, possibly the better bet, but I'll take the stack. I am not going to Google something the chat is requesting me to do. No, sir. You can do that yourself. Not going to do that. Ever since you hit over 10K subs, it's been a little harder to get in a draft. Yeah, it has picked up considerably. Also, like, we consistently have over 50 people watching, and I think that is a major, major factor. When only like 20 people are watching, it's a little bit easier. So if you want to increase your chances of getting into our next lobby, I recommend hitting the notification bell. There are definitely fewer people watching when we hop into our first draft in the first 5 minutes than our third draft 2 hours in. So ring the notification bell down below if you are interested in being aware of every time I go live or have new content. And now that we've hit July, there will be some more pre-recorded, edited content on the way. We will start pivoting back to our regular programming. In all honesty, the live streaming is much more of a new aspect of the channel. I love it, but it's definitely not where I started. And I'm sure the folks who subscribed before this year are wondering, when is this guy going to post some videos? When the fuck are we getting our win-loss picks, rankings? When the fuck is that going to happen? Tyson makes it back. Yeah, definitely rubbing it in my face that Tyson was the bad click in the last one. But Tyson is a rookie. I have Olave. Maybe that's not the move. I'm actually going to take Dobbins here. I need a running back. I want someone available week 1. And week 1, I 100% trust that Dobbins is the guy. Barring an injury in training camp, Dobbins is definitely getting the most touches in the Broncos backfield. No question. But yeah, I'm not falling for that. Fire in the Sky, Coneheads. There were a lot of alien movies, I feel like, in the 90s. Independence Day, um, Armageddon with the asteroid in outer space, the Michael Bay movie. I don't think that was 93, though. But the best you're going to get from me is what's in the Rolodex, what's in the memory bank. Not going to Google it. You can Google it yourself. I know, right? Imagine if Dobbins could just stay healthy all year. But in the Eliminator, I think he's a pretty good pick. I am taking him pretty early, though. That's kind of crazy. Pick 79, possibly way too expensive. But honestly, I think for what the format entails, this contest is all about, I don't mind it. I don't mind it there. I'm thinking Michael Pittman, though. I want some receiver production, and I'll go Michael Pittman. It's possible, man, but why do I need to Google it? Like, that's a very odd request. Why do I need to Google it while my screen is being shared? Yeah, it's an unnecessary risk to just be taking requests from people in the chat that want me to Google something. Especially, no offense, I'm not sure I recognize you from previously, Mr. Carp. This may be the first time I recognize you. Yeah, Corey Feldman also just an odd. It doesn't pass the vibe check. There's something weird about it. Everything factored in. It's pretty odd. I'll pass. All right. Recapping the team, I got a 1-3-4-0 with Jaden Daniels, Christian McCaffrey, Devon Achane, and J.K. Dobbins. The running back room to start feels pretty solid. And then receiver early season schedule is pretty decent. Olave against the Lions. Terry against the Eagles. A little tough, but should be fine. Adams against the Niners. That should be pretty lit. And then Michael Pittman Jr. against the Falcons. If it is a problem, it's for the receiver one. The Falcons secondary overall is not a concern. And I think the Mike McCarthy system is going to come out swinging, throwing a lot of passes. Now, would have been nice to get Stafford. He's not available. Dart almost made it. Dart's super valuable. But running back could use some touches. Kenneth Gainwell is a very safe play, in my opinion. I will take Kenny Gainwell, given the running back prices, getting him at a 5-pick discount. Definitely worth it, in my opinion, and I think he's a pretty consistent, solid option. With a Week 10 bye, it's the same as Dobbins, but I have CMC and Achane already. I can get by with a Week 10 bye. Yes, this is our first encounter. I guess that is probably the reason. I'm not giving you any grace, but it's just an odd request, Corey. Mr. Feldman, your Google should work. Maybe you should use Bing. Move over to Bing. Move over to Yahoo. Move over to ChatGPT. Actually, don't do that. I'm anti-AI over here. But yeah. Top 10 oddest people. I don't know about that. There's some more odd people for sure. But strange childhood, no doubt. Especially if his allegations are indeed true. But wow, Swole the God. Team 10 is doing whatever the fuck he wants here. He took Trey McBride at 34 and then said, why the fuck is everyone passing on tight end? Tyler Warren should be a 5th-round pick, grabs him at 58, and then takes Harold Fannin 111 after Kyle Pitts and Sam Laporta go off the board around the turn. Very interesting. Very interesting move. I'm going to take Tyler Shuck again. Actually, nah. I'll just take the fall on Jared Goff. Tempted to do it, but nah, I still rank Goff ahead of Tyler Shuck. But we'll go Jared Goff. With Olave there, I mentioned the week 1 matchup, Lions versus Saints, but the Lions are also part of that game. The Lions are also going to play week 1 against New Orleans, and they're going to go off. They're going to play very well. It's a home game. Goff always plays well at home, so that'd be pretty weird to pass on Goff there. The stack was interesting, but that's why you use all 20 seconds. We go Jared Goff. It's definitely the right choice to make. Also, in the Eliminator, I don't really care as much about stacks in the first place. So we get one of the highest floor pocket passers in Jared Goff, paired with one of the highest ceiling rushing quarterbacks in Jaden Daniels. And despite having early bye weeks, week 6 and 7 with both of them, they're different bye weeks. That's kind of all that matters to me. And week 1, I need to get out of the pod in the very least. So grabbing Jared Goff home against the Saints. We're fine, but I love your band, Corey. Says Chad. Great band, and your dancing is the best I've ever seen. You know what? You're actually subscribed right now. If I'm not mistaken, subscriber mode is on. If I'm not mistaken, you need to be a subscriber to be chatting. I'm going to grab Jalen Coker. Actually, nah, I should stick with Diggs. I'll stick with Diggs. The early buy for Coker is not ideal. Week 5, that's super early, and that's where, like, the money's not really worth it. Like, at least double your money and make it to week 6, right? Week 5 is kind of annoying. If I'm going to draft week 5 buys in this contest, I'm more excited to take the Chiefs than the Panthers. So I'll go Diggs there, bet that maybe we get a different buy. And who knows, maybe I get a stacking partner with Jaden Daniels. It's definitely possible that Diggs goes for a decent contract to the Commanders. That's definitely possible. Yeah, I'm not falling for that shit. There you go. There you go, Carp. You got somebody to fall for it. Not me. Not me. I can only imagine what it is and what would happen if I actually did this. But fuck no. Fuck no. This team still doesn't have a tight end. In general, that's kind of how I build these. But I will say, if one of these 2 tight ends makes it to me, I'll probably take him. So we'll see what Niners fan does. He already has Mark Andrews. He goes Dallas Goedert. I would have preferred Dallas Goedert. I would have preferred that. But Isaiah Likely should get 100 targets probably in this offense. Should have a major breakout. And especially early season with no neighbors possibly. Feels like a pretty safe bet. I favor getting out of the pod and some of the early season points that I can project. Because if I want to bet on someone to come alive in weeks 5, 6, or later, odds are 9 out of 10 teams aren't even eligible for those games. So I give a lot of value to week 1 and the early season. If Neighbors is out, then likely just inherently has more value. So I'll take him here. Pretty balanced roster so far. We have the elite quarterback in Jaden Daniels. We also have Jared Goff. Very solid backup. Running back is pretty loaded, pretty consistent, at least top heavy with Christian McCaffrey and Devon Achane. Until Dobbins gets hurt, he's the guy to own in Denver. So pulled him up to the 79th pick, but I think it's worth it. His ADP is 86 in this contest. And then Kenneth Gainwell, 103, 5 picks past ADP, really comes in handy. And then our tight end 1 is Isaiah Likely, high spike week candidate. Not much consistency, though. It's easy to get some good floor candidates, though, at tight end. But receiver is solid with Olave, Terry, Adams, Michael Pittman, and Stephon Diggs. Pretty valuable pieces. And then Pittman and Diggs, I think, are 2 of the more mispriced players. In regular formats, Pittman I did take at pick 90, so closer to where I think he should go. And then Diggs at 127, still probably a good value. So the team's coming together. I'm not sure what's going to happen here, but I'll take Cam Ward if he's available at 151. Definitely. I'm happy to have 3 quarterbacks. I believe in Cam Ward way more than Bryce Young, and I do think his upside is higher than what Aaron Rodgers has to offer later on. So, solid discount on Cam Ward, not a format where you need to stack. You can also back stack it pretty nicely, pretty affordably. So grabbing Cam Ward, quarterback 3, kind of redeems my team a little bit compared to the last team we just drafted, where quarterback was thin. We got some firepower this time around. Also, really good value on Goff in this one. Excellent value on Cam Ward. Pretty sweet. But in all honesty, I already forgot what he told me to Google. An outer space movie from 1993. I will Google it later. You know what? I probably will. I probably will Google it later. But definitely not on the stream. I am curious, though. Now I'm like, should I Google it on my phone and then clear it? But nah, I'm just going to hold my ground. We're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. I'll let that be just a little game the chat can play on their own time. But I will not take the cheese. A lot of these picks feel pretty mid. Pretty fucking mid. But Dalton Schultz feels pretty safe. I'll take the floor. One of the best floor candidates with one of the highest ceiling candidates. Now, they both have the same bye week 8, but I'm okay with that. I'll get a third tight end on this team. That's kind of always the plan. Running back is good enough to stop at 5. And then receiver, I think, is good enough to stop at 7. 3 tight ends when we wait isn't bad, but Ridley resurgence, that's not really what I'm betting on. I'm just kind of betting on the new pieces and the new coaching staff. I think Carnell Tate and Wanda Robinson are such a massive upgrade over what they had last year. Ridley was so banged up, barely contributed, really only one good game out of Ridley the entire season. He was very, very old and out of shape. He was injured like the entire season pretty much. And there is just like no real optimism, in my opinion, over there. If he can do anything, it's just icing on the cake. But really, I just trust Carnell Tate. I trust Wanda Robinson in the Brian Dable system. And then if Chimeri DK is the wide receiver 3, I think that's pretty solid as well. I liked what I saw out of Chimeri DK not to be afraid. But I believe in Cam Ward. The dude played awesome when he was at Miami. Really, really good numbers in Miami. Travis Hunter goes at 172 to Scopes. I would have taken him happily at 175. He had fallen enough. I would have taken him there. I need some receiver points. It would have been sweet. I think I'm just going to grab Tank Bigsby and hope that the injury happens to Saquon earlier than probably happened. Like, maybe not. He has week 10 bye. I might be messing up here. I maybe should have gone with Brian Robinson. Week 11 bye. Because now that makes 3 in week 10. But I have HN, I have CMC. I'll just trust them. I can live with it. It's not the end of the world. But it is a weakness, possibly, if I do make it there. But I only have to start 2 running backs. We're trusting CMC and HN ultimately. And then the bet on Bigsby is kind of all or nothing in the first place. It's also kind of all or nothing with Brian Robinson. There's really no guarantees at all that he hits our lineup with more than like 8 points all season. Even with a touchdown, you could still get like 9 points that week at a B-Rob, and it's pretty worthless. So Bigsby, I think, has the true higher upside and more likelihood that the RB1 actually misses time. Unlike Bijan. Saquon is older and more injury prone than Bijan. So Bigsby is just my guy. I will take him there happily. Even in the eliminator, despite not much going for him in terms of week 1 volume. I'll still take Tank Bigsby though. But Gunnar Helm would have been nice at 186, but on this roster, I really don't have to force any stacks at all. So while it would make sense, it's just not necessary. And if anything, it might weaken my roster in week 9 with another player out of the mix. But as long as I don't take a week 8 bye on this one, I think I'm in solid enough shape. Freiermuth does go. That would have been sweet. So instead, I'm not going to risk it. Tight end can fall off a massive cliff here. I'm going to go Terrence Ferguson and just hope that in week 11, he has a good enough game to contribute. Ferguson can drop a 40-yard touchdown, one of the few tight ends that can do that. Highest average depth of target among all tight ends last year, and that's a skill set I want in fantasy football. So best ball tight ends need some upside. Likely has tremendous upside. Schultz is one of the most consistent tight ends in the field. So I'm going to trust the volume there. And then week 8, we will go with the volatile but spike week prom, high ceiling Terrence Ferguson of the LA Rams. Also, if you were watching the Rams closely last year, when Devontae Adams got hurt, not only did Puka correlate very well. Obviously, Puka's target share went up. Puka was more effective. But the receiver that got most involved the first week that Adams was out was actually Terrence Ferguson. They tried to really spotlight T-Ferg the week that Adams missed. If not for some drops, I think they would have committed to him more the rest of the way. But he just wasn't quite ready as a rookie. He had a drop in the red zone. He also had a false start, a illegal motion that negated a touchdown that he did catch. He was just kind of fucking up. A rookie mistake. So year 2, trusting his development. The talent is definitely there. And hopefully the touchdowns that went to Colby Parkinson gravitate a little bit more towards Terrence Ferguson. But it's possible that Colby Parkinson is the better click. And maybe T-Ferg is just not consistent enough to hit the lineup. But the team is pretty interesting so far. A 3-5-5-3. We are locked into wideout with the last 2 picks. I got Jaden Daniels, Jared Goff, and Cam Ward. I have Christian McCaffrey, Devon Achane, Dobbins, Kenny Gainwell, and Tank Bigsby. Running back and quarterback feel excellent. Receiver, though, with Olave, Terry, Adams, Michael Pittman, and Diggs needs some more depth. But likely Schultz and Ferguson is fine at receiver. Malik Washington falls, but In all honesty, I'm not that excited about it. Um, I guess it's 22 picks past ADP. And week one, he's probably the more likely guy to get the most targets. But it's just not a lot of volume. It's not that valuable ultimately. It's not that exciting other than the big discount. So I passed on him twice. He was basically top of ADP when I took Tank Bigsby. He wasn't far off of it. So I passed on him in the last round. There's a lot of receivers that went off since then. He's still sitting there. Falling 20 spots is probably worth my time. So I'll take Malik Washington. I don't feel great about it. I rarely ever take him, but the floor play is probably a decent asset on a team that needs some depth. But solid fantasy football advice. Do you have any advice for a first-time pregnant white male? You should have let that dude wear a condom. That's the next time. Make sure somebody wears a condom. Whoever the father is made a big mistake. That's my advice to you. Use a condom next time. I'm gonna go Pat Bryant, I think. I do kind of feel like Keenan is a interesting bet in this I'm actually gonna go Keenan. Yeah, fuck it. Keenan signs, Keenan plays, and week one, he's much more valuable than down the stretch. Keenan will not hold up if he is active. So Keenan is an all or nothing bet that he doesn't retire, but the rumors with the Colts, I think, are worth buying into right now. Or there's smoke, there's fire. The way I interpret it is even if Keenan doesn't sign with the Colts, they have Shane Steichen, who would be a reunion in terms of coaching. Steichen was the play caller Herbert's rookie year, so he's familiar with Keenan. He knows how to use him. And then there's also the scenario where Alec Pierce is missing some time and not ready for week one. So that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping to get Keenan Allen in Indianapolis or really anywhere, and he helps me out, helps me get out of this pod, and does deliver a lot of targets for around 18 capital. If he plays, wouldn't shock me if he gets another 80 targets. Last year, he had 120 with the Chargers. So hopefully the veteran is not washed, but I will mix him in on this team today. I need receivers, and this is kind of a big payoff type of bet if it does hit. It's the same risk of a zero as some of the other names down here. Maybe not every single player is a true zero, but you're telling me week one Keenan is on the field. I'd rather start him than anybody else here. So that's the roster. In the eliminator, I go Jaden Daniels, Jared Goff, and Cam Ward. All three have different buys. They're kind of early, but different buys is all that matters most to me. And very good prices on all of them. Right at ADP with Daniels, but stacked up with Terry. Jared Goff, 5 picks past. And then Cam Ward, 14 picks past ADP. Running back with CMC, Devon Achane. J.K. Dobbins, Kenny Gainwell, and Tank Bigsby. I'm focusing on the early season, hoping that I can make it to week 10 and still advance. And then maybe Saquon goes down and Tank Bigsby is the piece that wins me the remaining matchups down the stretch. But Olave against Detroit, we got a week 1 bring back with Jared Goff. Should be a shootout. Love that for him. Terry, just a good pick in general. Adams as well. Pittman, an awesome selection at pick 90. I think it's still worth it, still a value. And then Diggs, a pretty good value, even above ADP. I needed the points. I'll take him there happily. Malik Washington, big discount. And then Keenan Allen, a swing for the fence in round 18. But likely Schultz and Ferguson, some high upside, high floor. A solid mix. I don't mind this tight end room at all. So balanced team, maybe needs an 8th receiver, but I think I can get away with it with Olave, Terry, and Adams for the most part. So let me know what you guys think in the chat. If there are picks you would not have made, picks that you thought saved this team, some selections that maybe opened your eyes. Like Dobbins, I genuinely think is worth reaching on a little bit in this format. Dobbins will absolutely be the main guy week 1. Now, maybe he gets hurt in the training camp August sessions and he's just not eligible week 1, but definitely a player that in your flex should hit like 14, 15 points. I would expect about 90, 80 yards and a touchdown from J.K. Dobbins week 1. He's very consistent when he's eligible. But, yeah, can't be getting man-preggers in 2026. You should know. You should know better than that. Got to rubber up for sure. Are we talking Darnell over Patty French this year in best ball? McCarthy likes his big boys. I mean, the contract investment in Darnell Washington is considerable, but I think in general, the blocking skill set of Darnell Washington is the main reason why the team wants him so much. He is very valuable in that regard, and Freiermuth has just consistently been a better pass catcher, way, way better over time. So I would trust Freiermuth over Darnell Washington. I'm not really drafting Washington in general. He's okay with your final click if you really need tight end, especially if you have Rodgers, I guess. But in general, I just think Freiermuth is like a tremendous value and really the only one you should be drafting of the two. But we mentioned in this lobby there was really just Niners fan with us. Nez, if you're watching, you didn't mention anything, so I'm not going to do a team review for Nez. As curious as I am, I think I just might look at it later. I am going to review Niners fan and then move on. He has Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, so elite at quarterback. Spent a heavy price at pick 56, though. Interesting to scoop up the value on a falling Lamar. But Kenneth Walker, Cam Scattaboo, those two can get it done. RJ Harvey at 89, nice little discount, but early season might be kind of worthless. Jonathan Brooks falling to 113, I suppose is worth it there. Brian Robinson, a pretty solid click at 176. But Amon-Ra, Jamo, the double Detroit. You also have Jordan Tyson, so building out that week 1 Lions-Saints matchup. But Ricky Pearsall, Ryan Flournoy, A.D. Mitchell, Jeremy Bernard, and Rashad Bateman. The depth is a little thin, and then there's weeks where these two guys might not flip-flop. It's just like one might not be very valuable at times. But I don't hate it. Jamo at 65 is pretty worth it. I would just take him there as well. You also got Tyson at 80. That's pretty solid. You kind of faded receiver. And I'm not convinced that's a wise move. I think in this contest, you still want some solid receivers, in my opinion. But Andrews, Goddard, and Freiermuth, pretty solid at tight end. No issue there. No issue at all. All right around ADP. They're all pretty solid. Solid picks. But yeah, no worries, man. You're welcome. But I think it is time, Mac Nova. You are correct. Before I go, I think it is time for a hit. That was a good one. That was a good one to end the stream on. All right. I think that's going to be it for me. We were live for 2.5 hours tonight. We drafted 3 teams, an eliminator, a BBM, and then a second eliminator. I think tomorrow we'll do one more BBM because of the challenge. And then hopefully I can save one for the day after. But all right, that's going to be it for me. Hope you all enjoyed. And then one final reminder, we can get you 20% off the Fanspeak Best Ball Guide. The link is in the description down below. Promo code BLUNT gets you 25% off. That's $30 for the year. But if you're also interested, if you're new to Underdog, maybe Carp is interested in joining Underdog. Maybe Corey Feldman would like this promo. Promo code BLUNT gets you $50 in bonus funds after you play your first 5. The link is in the description. And new customers also get a first-time deposit match, 50% matched, up to $1,000. But that extra 50 in bonus entries is pretty nice. I recommend if you're new. But later, everyone. Peace out. I will see you either tomorrow or Friday. There's a chance, though, that tomorrow it's pretty late. I'll let you know. If I'm live tomorrow, it's going to be pretty late. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace out. Bye-bye.